Hi, this is David Williams. I'm here with Tricia Lucas. Good morning, Tricia.
Good morning, David.
It's good being able to catch up with you. We had a little hiccup, but it's interesting. Yours was a reschedule and my 9 o'clock was a reschedule. So you're my third one today and my last one. So I should be warmed up from my side and maybe I'll get you prepared. I think you're doing one tomorrow. So to give you some warm up for tomorrow, right?
Absolutely.
So can you tell us briefly a little bit about who you are and what you do? And then at the end, I'll allow you to expand on that even more with your website and stuff.
Sure. So I have multiple hats that I wear, but I am a business owner. I run a recruiting business, Lucas Select, which is a boutique recruiting company that specializes in placing sales and marketing people in tech companies. So I do work a lot with startups and software startups. The other hat that I wear is also as a career coach, which kind of evolved later. After I launched Lucas Select in 2008, I sort of evolved to where my passion is and what I'm really good at. And so I've added career coaching to that. And then I also started an organization a couple of years ago called the Alliance of Women in Tech Leadership, which we may talk a little bit more about here today on this program.
Oh yeah, we'll definitely want to make sure I come back to that. And even if I don't bring it up specifically, when I get ready to close us out at the end, maybe you can add some stuff about that because obviously with us being connected on LinkedIn, I see that pop up quite a bit. And that's actually what got us to connect on the photography side. And that's how we know each other because I think you needed something, updated headshot for being featured there or something, if I remember correctly. So time goes by so quick. I think that's probably been a couple years ago now, but I'm glad that we've stayed connected on LinkedIn. And what I want you to do is just offer up some advice today that would be helpful for whether it's small business owners or personal development, because if you're talking about career coaching, you know, obviously there's a couple of sides of that because you kind of have to have your personal life somewhat in order as well, you know, have some good habits and build some good habits. So talk to me a little bit about what you do to help people and organizations out so that will hopefully provide some advice that people can get a couple of nuggets and say, oh, wow, that was some good stuff. I want to try to make sure I make that happen.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and speak more with my career coaching hat on in terms of working with individual candidates. And, you know, that really came about when I do recruiting and have been doing recruiting over the years, I really tended to empathize with the candidate and what they were going through and that they were a person through the recruiting process. And I think the recruiting process is a bit broken because technology has enabled it to become more of a process and has kind of taken the human piece of it out of it. And candidates tend to be seen more as a body to fill something as opposed to a human being that is going through a job transition. And job transitions they're very stressful, and you know, some people handle it better than others. And so I get people in conversations that are working with me or coming to me in different stages of their job search. But the piece that I think I really get the most excited about is helping someone to really figure out what it is that they want to do next and get excited about it. You know, so many times if a decision has been made for somebody, you know, a layoff or a RIF, and it catches them by surprise, they're in a frantic of, oh my gosh, I got to go find a job. And I try to take that, oh my gosh, I have to go get a job, and turn that into, this could be a good thing. Did you really like that job? And, you know, or have you always wanted to, you know, go do something else or try something different or evolve to something else? And so when one door closes, another window of opportunity opens. And if I can get them to embrace that piece of it as get excited about the possibility of what you can do next. And that something can be something that you're really good at and you're passionate about it. And sometimes people, you know, they don't have the opportunity to do that unless they've been forced into that. And seeing that light click on when they come to me and they're in one kind of a mindset, and then seeing them evolve and actually get excited about something by the time they get done with me, they're fired up and they're passionate and they're really looking forward to it. So it's really about getting them to understand and enjoy the journey to get to that next piece. That's probably a very long answer to your question.
Because typically what happens is, actually that was shorter than some people that's when I opened it up, but you said there in the end, understand the journey. And I think what, I heard you saying in there, what's interesting to me is I could see how somebody could be like, I've lost my job and things are terrible and all this. And it sounds like what you do is say, hey, this could be an opportunity, and you get people thinking differently. You change so going to a word that's come up a lot as I've been doing these is mindset. It sounds like you're changing the mindset, right? You're getting them to think differently and think, oh, this is an opportunity. This is not necessarily something that is all that terrible. And so it sounds like you do some exploration with them and start, finding out what their true dreams are, right? What they really hope to accomplish, and rather than just showing up for a paycheck. Is that what I hear you saying?
Yeah, that's exactly what you hear me saying. And a lot of that, comes too from my own experience. Really, life is all about plan B. I mean, we can have the best laid plan. And, if you go back and you think about it, when does it ever really work out exactly the way you thought it was going to? And if people get so married to the, oh my gosh, I didn't go from A to Z, and I keep getting sidelined, and they get frustrated about that, excuse me, instead of, and then it puts so much pressure because they didn't meet this certain goal or idealistic ending or accomplishment that they set themselves up for. And so you kind of set yourself up for failure. So if you go about things differently in terms of your outlook and say, and take the blinders off, so that if life throws something at you that you didn't expect, is that a bad thing or is it an opportunity to, okay. And that a lot of that has happened with me in terms of what I'm doing for a living now. It's like I thought I was going to do X, Y, Z. I never thought I was going to be doing what I'm doing now. And that's not a bad thing though, because we're evolving and we're still learning so much about ourselves and what we're good at and what we like. And if you keep building on that, and then you also look at the marketplace in terms of where's my opportunity now in the current marketplace. And with my generation, Gen X, being through so many economic ups and downs, we have to learn to pivot that way, and to dust yourself off and pick yourself back up and go, okay, I thought I was chasing this over here and the market has changed, and now I need to pivot and figure out where my value add is and where my value is and what I can be happy doing to contribute to the current marketplace that we're in now.
I appreciate you, sharing some of that, because it got me to thinking. You said you wouldn't have planned on being where you're at now, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. And that's where I'm going to dive in just a moment to have you expand on the women's organization that you started. But before I go there, what you got me to thinking about, a lot of people, popular question, how long have you been in photography? Well, I always start with 1982. When I was in high school in 1982, that's when the journey began. That's when I, really loved it. I mean, I fell in love with it then. And so what happened over the years is I got away from it for a while, and I don't always share that unless I'm talking with somebody individually, like telling the story. And I say, well, I got out of it for a while, but I'm back into it. And what my wife reminds me of, because actually she's been with me, we've been married for 30 years. So I was a photographer when I met her. And so during that journey, she's been on that journey with me, and she's seen me step away and come back to it. And I've been back into it for years now. But my point to that is she reminds me that look at all that you learned when you stepped away. So although I have some regrets about, oh, I left my passion, right? I knew I was supposed to be a photographer. I love it, but I left it for a while. And she's like, you learned so much during that time. And so you made me think about that. Speaking of learning and growing and doing things even beyond what you've already shared, I see probably as many updates from you about the women's organization as I do most anything else that you post. So I know that's near and dear to your heart. So talk to me a little bit about how that started and what's going on there. And obviously it's centered around, correct me if I'm wrong, it's a women's organization, so I can't join.
You actually could you could participate in it. We have a variety of ways to do that, but I won't let us get sidelined on that. How that really came about is, you know, a few years ago, and I've been in tech all my life. I mean, I've worked in 8 tech startups. I've worked at IBM. I've worked at SAS. I've always been in tech, and it's a male-dominated, you know, industry as are many others. You know, but it's never really been an issue for me. You know, and so I will say though, about 3 years ago, I was wondering where I was looking for other women like me that I could bounce ideas off of. You know, when you do a lot of remote work, sometimes the dogs start talking back, right? So you kind of crave a peer group to talk about business and, hey, you know, I'm thinking about this or that. And I was like, so I started reaching out to other groups and meetup groups, and I just couldn't find the women in technology that were also in leadership, tech leadership. And there's a number of different organizations out there, but nobody really checked the box of all of those requirements. And so I said, you know, I think I'll just start my own peer group. And so I sent an email out to about 12, 15 women that I knew that fit that criteria, and, you know, said, hey, this is what I'm looking for. Would you be, you know, interested in, you know, meeting on a regular basis, maybe bouncing ideas off of each other, talking about cool tech startups, keeping up with the industry? And the response was overwhelming. Oh my gosh, I've been looking for something like this. And how about so-and-so and so-and-so? And how about this person? And the next thing I knew, I had 28 women that wanted to be a part of this new group. And so it quickly grew, and I now have over 80 women that are a part of the organization. And we meet on a regular basis. It's all designed to amplify, elevate, and celebrate women in tech leadership. And so we can gripe about the fact that there's not enough women in tech leadership, or we can be a part of the solution. And we choose to be part of the solution. We mentor up and coming women so that we can have people behind us that we're helping to elevate, so that they can come in and replace us and be a part of the solution. And so the group is a support group. The group is a celebratory group. It's a networking group. And everything that we do is to help our women get better at their jobs and to help develop and continue to develop their professional careers in tech. And it's become just a wonderful group of women. And this peer group that I put together years ago has been so instrumental in actually helping me to further develop as a leader, and also my own skills, and helping me to develop my offerings and the way that I interact with people and how I go about providing solutions to my clients. And so it's just, as you can tell, I get really excited about it.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It's the women are, and there's, and this is the best part, David. I didn't realize how many smart, just brilliant women that we have right here in our community in tech leadership. The Triangle is just a wonderful community, and it just makes me more and more excited and proud to be a part of it.
Well, the fact that you said 80 women, I mean, obviously there are a lot more women beyond that in tech leadership, but the fact that your organization is 80 women, you know, I think about a lot of networking groups being 20, 30, 40, 50 people, maybe, you know, 50 on the high end, but to have a group of about 80 people that meets on a fairly regular basis, that obviously that's small, and it's large enough to get a lot of knowledge, but it's small enough to actually know everybody in the group, right? I mean, so over time you can get to know that many people. One of the things that you said in there is about the solution. Somebody posted on LinkedIn this morning, and hopefully I'll get it right. I'm sure you've heard it, but stay away from negative people because they have a solution for every problem.
Yeah.
Or problem for every, so however it goes. But anyway, you know, it's like, you know, I think they have a solution for every problem, but you found a problem and you created the solution to something you saw out there. And I appreciate you sharing that. And obviously we can tell by how you talked about it that you are as passionate, if not even more passionate, as you were about what you shared with us before. So what I'm going to do now, Tricia, before we close out and I have you share some information about your website and how to find you on social media, is just any closing thoughts that come to mind, anything that you would like to share that may have popped in your head over the last few minutes that you'd like, you know, I'd really like the opportunity to share that. I want to give you an opportunity to do that right now. Anything that comes to mind, whether it's about the organization. One of the things you didn't mention is the name of the organization, so feel free to mention that, and any other closing thoughts that you have, and then I'll open it up for you to provide your website and things of that nature.
Yeah, I think in closing, one of the things I think is probably the most important piece that I would point out is, you know, I had referenced that I had, you know, being part of the Gen X generation and seeing so many, you know, ups and downs in the economy. I do see some people get very, very stressed when we are in a downturn, and sometimes that stress and anxiety can make you make some bad decisions or emotional decisions based on fear and anxiety. And I think it's really important just to step back and take a breath and know that this too shall pass. And you just need to be but you still need to be authentic and genuine. And your true self comes out during those times. And so you want to be your best self, and you want to show that you're the kind of person that can get through tough times and be considerate of others and grow with it. If we don't, how we come out of tough times is really all about, it shows your true character. And so you really need to embrace it, go through it. Maybe you need to grieve a little bit if you're having a tough time. Instead of, you just need to deal.
So that's, you know, I think what you said in there that's so critical is during tough times, I think we show who we really are, right? And then it also challenges us to be who we hope we truly are and who we really want to be. One of the things I'm going to do that I haven't done in any of these interviews is I'm going to get that quote right, and I'm actually going to share my screen briefly. So I haven't done any, I don't think, screen sharing in any of these interviews. So let me try to see if I can get that right and pull up that quote from Albert Einstein so people will think, what in the, you know, he didn't have that right. But stay away from negative people. They have a problem for every solution.
There you go.
So that I want to get it right. So somebody posted this on LinkedIn this morning, and I thought about how true that is, right? Stay away from negative people. They have a problem for every solution. And so I wanted to get that right before we close out. But I'm glad that you created a solution for something that you saw going on out there, and that you shared that bit in closing about challenging times, you know, and I think we all, when we're challenged, whether it's the economy or something else that happens in life, it, you know, it could be something that is not even related to the economic situation, like the current crunch that we're going through. But we've also gone through 2008. We've also gone through 9/11. So there have been other challenges, you know, that people have experienced. And so I think it's good to try to prepare as much as possible for those challenges. And I think you said that when you were talking about your career coaching, because people, I could see, get really down and out, and, you know, probably head in a pillow crying, and then they come to you and it's like their whole perspective, you know, changes and brightens up. And so I appreciate you sharing a lot of the things that you've shared today. What I want to do now is give you an opportunity to mention your website, which I'm going to put in the description of the YouTube video and the description of the podcast. So I'll put the website that I was able to grab. Feel free to send me any other websites you want to by email that I could drop in there for you. But with that said, go ahead and close it out with what's your website, where can people find you on social media, that type of stuff, and then we'll say our final goodbyes.
Okay, sure. So Lucas Select is www.lucasselect.com. And that website is for clients that are looking for recruiting services. And also there is a career coaching resume review tab that's on there too for candidates that are looking for career coaching services. And then the Alliance Women's Group is it's www.allianceofwomenintech.com.
Okay. I appreciate you sharing that with me. As far as social media, I guess LinkedIn, finding you via Tricia Lucas is a great way to find you there.
Yeah, LinkedIn, actually, it's got my maiden name in the middle of it there.
Okay,
Tricia,
yep.
Which is a long, Tricia Grabfelder Lucas.
Yeah, I've noticed that.
Or you can also search under Lucas Select and it'll come up.
Okay, well, that's great. I've got the one website already pulled out, ready to go, kind of with your bio. Feel free to email me the women's organization website, so I'll have that handy as well. But I want to thank you, Tricia, for joining me today. It's been a pleasure speaking with you.
Thank you so much for having me, David.
Take care.
Thank you.